This year's Gratiaen Prize winner is dyslexic, and he grew up in a Sinhala-speaking household. He started learning English at the age of 9, straddling 2 languages and literature, reading George Orwell and Oscar Wilde with the same enthusiasm as Martin Wickramasinghe and Maha Gamasekara, and writing adventure stories in English despite confusing B and D among other dyslexia-prone issues. But Savin Edirisinghe's Kata Katha, Gossips, Rumours and Idle Talk did much more than win the 32nd Gratiaen Prize. It breached that space between English and Sinhala languages. It walked the tightrope that defines new writers in multiple languages, and it became a story to uphold in English literature expectations. And it is now published. Savin, who works at Charana TV and is a marketer at Loops International, is one of the youngest to win the Gratiaen, and he's on Kaleidoscope. Let's talk today. Congratulations, Savin. How do you feel after winning the Gratiaen this year?
Thank you so much. I feel actually pretty overwhelmed, but in a good way.
So this collection of short stories began with the 2024 Future Writers Program. Tell me more.
That's the place where actually I got the courage to actually submit one of my short stories, because I have been writing, as far back as I can remember. But I wanted to, submit it to that particular program. The main thing that I wanted to publish, the main reason I wanted to actually get into that program was because Ashok Fere and then Lal Madhvatagama were the judges, and I highly admired their writing. So I wanted them to read my writing. So that's the main reason. I never thought I'd win.
What was the biggest challenge in putting this collection together?
The writing part, actually, because I had many techniques for me to start writing. Even now, I don't consider myself to be a writer, because for you to be a writer, you should be doing that every time, every second. But that was difficult for me because there were too many stories in my head as well. That's why I think I inclined towards writing a short story collection rather than a novel. So writing the actual ideas that was inside my head was the difficult part.
So why did you hone in on gossip of all things?
Well, that is also another thing, because I'm only 25 and I haven't seen many of the things that much experience and much seasoned writers have experienced and actually see. So what I did was sort of, it's kind of like a hack. What I did was I listened to other people's experiences and stories. A lot of eavesdropping. Then I actually went there and talked with people whom I found interesting and whom I thought, okay, this guy has a story. So that's why it's actually called gossip, and that's the glue that sticks all the stories together.
Now, you grew up in a Sinhala-speaking household. How do you manage the 2 languages? Is there one language that overshadows the other one at any stage?
So there's this quote by Shah Mangal, I think he was a French emperor, who said, having another language is like having another soul. But some time back, I wrote a poem called Bilingual Sankara, in which I say, I know 2 languages, so these 2 languages may cancel each other out. So in turn, I think I may have no soul at all. So that was very difficult for me, having the idea and then choosing what language to write it in. I would say for poetry, I mostly use Sinhala, but for prose, I use English. So I'm bipolar in that manner. I don't know what language to use still.
How did your dyslexia shape your writing skills?
Even now, you should see my first draft. That was, it was completely red lines on my computer, red lines and grammar mistakes, especially spelling mistakes, because I am still, it's still there with me. So actually, the speed of me thinking is much faster than speed of me writing. So that makes my handwriting especially bad, and also sometimes my idea runs away from me. So what I do is I try to slow myself, especially my mind, and then write in a way which is not actually accurate, but gets the idea down on the paper. Then what I do is I revisit it and adjust everything.
So in writing your short stories, is there a common thread that runs through, and is there anything special in any of the stories?
I would say the people, the characters in the story. They are very special characters because most of the characters are actually inspired by real life people. But even if they read it themselves, they would find that these characters have been drastically changed by me, the author, and also they are the extreme, characters that these real life people could be. So if you have a very good character, good in the sense a very a benevolent character, in my short story collection, that character goes to the extreme of it, and it's vice versa. If it's bad, then it's very bad.
Is there anything you would have written differently? Anything you would change in your collection?
I don't think at the moment, because the audience still hasn't, read it and given me their feedback as well. But once the feedback or once the reviews starts coming, I think I'll change a lot of things. But at the moment, I'm very happy about it because I stopped at 13 short stories with an intention. Okay, 13 is enough. I would have written 2 more to get it to 15, the normal accepted number, but I stopped at 13 because I thought, okay, this is done. And even now when I go back to the editing process, I can't read them, and I don't want to read them because they are done and they're out there. So it's up to the audience, I would say, the readers.
Do you have a favorite character in your book?
Well, I wrote a love poem for my girlfriend. Not a love poem and a love letter. So that's in the book, and that's the only part of myself that is actually in the book. So I would say, character-wise and also real person-wise, my girlfriend would be the favorite character.
You're only 25. You've also managed with your win to bridge a gap between English and Sinhala literature. Did you ever set out in that kind of mode, or were you just planning on doing what you're doing?
Well, I think I set out in that way because my father was a huge inspiration for me, and he's a Sinhala writer, he's a journalist, and he did his MA and PhD in Sinhala as well. So I always found Sinhala literature to be much more complex and much more beautiful than English literature in a way, and also Tamil literature as well, which is even more, rich and even more beautiful. But the thing is, especially translation, the Gratiaen Trust has done a great job in that sense because the HIA, the Translation Prize is a huge thing for the entire translation industry. But most of the important books hasn't been translated to English, especially in Sinhala and Tamil literature. So I wanted to, okay, maybe let's not translate, let's actually write the ideas of Sinhala or Sri Lankan culture in English, and this has been done by a lot of authors like Ashok Pere, even Shehan Karunatilaka, and Yasmin Kuran, everyone. But maybe I'm bringing a youth perspective to it and a 21st century outlook on it, where English and Sinhala are inseparable basically now, because everyone speaks in English and the Sinhala language is littered with English words. So,
if you were to give some advice to any young writers, what would you tell them?
Write till you feel right. That's what I did as well. I wrote until I felt right, inside and also outside. So, which is subjective because I don't feel right, like just like this. It's not instant. It takes time. But some people, might write something and feel very right about it. That happens as well. So I would say, trust your gut and write till you feel right. Yeah.
What's next for you?
Now I have to write. So I'll be writing a lot of novels and both short stories, and also I want to get into poetry as well because that's where I started actually. I love poetry, and it's the most Gen Z thing to do, writing poetry, because it's very instant. It's instant to write, it's instant to read, and I would go in that direction as well. So maybe become a poet. Yeah.
Congratulations, Savin.
Thank you.
And here's to more writing. Kaleidoscope is on 4 digital channels: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Do subscribe, follow, and like us.